talk about chord inversions. So, you've learned so much in a short amount of time, watching, I guess, 3 previous videos. One that covered musical alphabet. Quick review. We start with C because this group of notes right here, from C to C, is the basis for a lot of Western music theory. So let's just review that. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then we end it with another C. We repeat the top note, okay? Now let's review, your own tool to help you follow along is your own, hopefully neater than mine, drawing of a piano keyboard. You do not actually need to have a keyboard in front of you to learn what we're doing here. So, just like I just played, we've got C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And if you're joining in for the first time, you can pause right here, and why don't you try to draw something similar to this on a lined piece of paper if you've got one nearby. If not, you can create the little lines yourself, but lined piece of paper makes it easier. Turn it to the side, draw a line across the top, draw in your little black keys, and group of 2, skip a line, group of 3, skip a line, group of 2, etc., etc. You've got your piano keyboard. Okay. Third review, major triads. So again, we're going to base everything off of this note, C. So we're talking about C major. C major is, you take the musical alphabet, which in our case is also known as the C major scale, and you skip up the scale. You play the first note, you skip a note, you play the third note, you skip a note, you play the 5th note, and then when you play them all together, you get a C major triad. Now, in order to build a triad from any place, a major triad from any place on the keyboard, any note at all, doesn't matter where, you can count half steps. Half steps are as close together as 2 notes can be. It could be that close, it could be this close. These look farther apart than these 2, but they're actually the same distance apart. So let's start with any random note. So boom, we're going to start with this one. And we're going to come back and build a major triad starting with this note using C major for reference. So here's C, and then count the half steps up to get to your note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So there you go. Same relationship between these 2 notes as between these 2 notes. Okay? Now, to get from here to here, we already know that this is the triad we're referencing. To get from here to here, you're going to go 1, 2, 3. Okay, you don't count this note, you only step up from it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you had these, and now you're going to start from here. 1, 2, 3. Major triad. Okay, so it's 4 half steps plus 3 half steps. So you start with this note, don't count this as a step, only the relationship between the 2 notes is a step. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so anywhere, let's go random note, haha, D. Starting with this note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, major triad. All right, so your fingering should be 1, 3, 5. Reviewing fingers from the last video, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this video was supposed to be about inversions, but I've only been doing review. Let's quickly review the minor triad, and then we'll talk about inversions. Inversions is pretty straightforward. So let's talk about a minor triad, or minor chord, same thing. Here's your major. If you want to turn any major chord into a minor chord, this is a shortcut I didn't tell you about in the last video. You can just take the middle note and go back. Just go back by 1 half step, okay? From here to here. Star Wars. Also, the minor chord occurs naturally on the white keys, starting with the note, this note here. Think about what note that is. It's A. That's a minor triad as well. All right. And if you take this group of notes from here, that is a minor scale. We'll talk more about scales in the future. You don't need to know that quite yet. Let's talk about inversions now. Since we keep referencing C major, we're going to talk about the C major triad inverted. First, so this is root position. You can think about it like the root means that C, the name of the triad, is the bottom note. Okay, so this is a C major chord. C major chord. I don't have great handwriting, but C major chord. Sometimes that looks like this in jazz theory. Sometimes this looks like that. But here it is. This is root position when the C is on the bottom. Sometimes you're going to play these notes, these three notes, out of order. Sometimes you're going to play one here. You've got a C, an E, and a G. And every once in a while, you're going to mix it up. Actually, pretty often you're going to mix it up and you're going to have the middle note on the bottom, like that, okay? They don't have to all be perfectly lined up like this either. You can have an E here, a C here, a G here. This is called first inversion. Here's another version. First inversion, kind of like this. And you can also, anytime the second note of the triad is on the bottom, it's called first inversion. I know that's a little confusing, second note of the triad, first inversion, but it does make sense when you consider that when the note name is on the bottom of the triad, the chord name, C for C major, is root position. Then when you invert the chord and you put that bottom note on the top instead, or you know that this is your bottom note, you've got first inversion. It's the first time you've inverted the chord. And now let's put the last note of the triad, the third note of the triad, on the bottom. Second inversion. All right, so anytime you have these three notes, C, E, and G, G is the bottom note, but you still use these two notes. You've got C and E here, G on the bottom. You could have E and C here. You could have G, E, C way up here. Doesn't really matter, but if G is on the bottom, that is a second inversion triad. All right, so the next lesson will probably just be a quick overview of everything you've learned so far. But here are, one more time, your triads. When you've got the bottom note as the name of the triad, C major, this here is root position. And then when you've got the middle note as appearing on the bottom, this is first inversion. There's a version. I love that sound. There's another way to play it. And when this is your bottom note, this is your bottom note. Your full triad could appear like this. G could be down here, and you could have E and C here. G, C, E here. It doesn't even matter exactly what order they go in, as long as the bottom note is the third note of the triad. That's when you call it a second inversion. All right? Phew. We'll review that next time. Quite a bit to bite off today, including the review of everything else, but hang in there and keep referencing your personal keyboard that you have created for yourself. All right? And keep practicing on a flat surface like we talked about last time, if you don't have a keyboard handy. can practice on a flat surface by practicing the triads and imagining your hand playing on a keyboard. All right, thanks for your time. See you next time.